Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. The situation on the Kupyansk axis or front is bad for the Ukrainians. In the past few days, the Russians kept advancing. The Ukrainians ordered a mandatory evacuation of 37 settlements, including Kupyansk, the city of Kupyansk. A lot of people do not want to evacuate. I made a video on that one earlier today, and I wondered if those guys are waiting for the Russians as the liberators from the occupiers. That's why they don't want to evacuate. I was just asking questions. And here we find out that actually, according to the Russians, the Ukrainian troops are about to be encircled in the Kupyansk area. I'm going to show you one article and I'm going to show you a map. So let's go to the article first. Sputnik. Kupyansk clashes. Ukraine forces face encirclement amid Russian advance. Russian forces have advanced to within less than 7 kilometers of Kupyansk, a Kharkov, the Ukrainians call it Kharkiv, region town, helping hold Ukrainian defensive lines together. What's the area's strategic significance? Question mark. And what would its loss mean for Ukraine militarily? Sputnik reached out to veteran Russian military intelligence officer Anatoly Matvichuk, that sounds like Ukrainian, for his assessment. So let me show you the map. Where is that at? In Kharkiv. They call it Kharkov, the Russians. And here is the area, right here. This is Kupyansk. So in the far east, right here. This is Kupyansk here. This is the Russian advancement. So this is where they got, and this is Kharkov or Kharkiv. Supposedly this Kupyansk holds the defense line for Kupyansk, and then you got Liman, so Kupyansk, Liman, and then you get Artemovsk right here, which is Bakhmut. Then you got Avdiivka, and then you got Marinka. So this is where the Russians are pushing from here to here. Here in Zaporozhye, supposedly the Ukrainians were pushing, but that's already dead. So let's look back at the article here. Russian forces are continuing their advance towards Kupyansk, the eastern Kharkov region settlement, which serves as a major regional road and rail artery. On Thursday, Ukrainian authorities announced the mandatory evacuation of a Kupyansk district, including the town and over 50 surrounding villages. Well, the article provided by the Ukrainians that I used was saying 37. It doesn't really matter, 37 or 50 is big enough. It's a big number. In the Kupyansk direction, assault detachments of the Zapad group of forces improved their positions along the front line in the course of the offensive operations, end quote. Russian Defense Ministry spokesman Igor Konashenkov said the same day. Okay. So, over a 24-hour period, Konashenkov said, Russian forces successfully repelled, end quote, 7 attempted counterattacks by units of the 14th and 44th Mechanized Brigades of the Ukrainian Army in villages in the Lugansk People's Republic and Kharkov region. And I'm quoting, enemy losses amounted to more than 55 Ukrainian servicemen, 2 armored combat vehicles, 3 vehicles, an M109 Paladin self-propelled howitzer, and a US-made M777 artillery piece, end quote. The Ministry of Defense spokesman said, reports of Russian efforts to make headway along the Kupyansk direction of the front first began to filter through in mid to late July, with the Ministry of Defense reporting the capture of Molchanovo railway station situated north of the city. Okay, this is, I'm not going to put this little fight here. I don't know, YouTube, they're very crybabies. On August 7, Russian forces advanced 11 kilometers along the front and over 3 kilometers, so 11 kilometers, let's say 7 miles, 3 kilometers, 1.5 miles, let's say, along the front and over 3 kilometers into the depth of the enemy defenses over a 3-day period. A day later, Vitaly Ganchev, the head of the pro-Russian administration of Kharkov, said Russian troops had liberated 5 local settlements. How will Ukrainian forces respond? Asked to comment on Russia's operations in the Kupyansk direction, retired Army Colonel Anatoly Matvichuk, a veteran retired Soviet and Russian military intelligence officer and analyst with experience in Afghanistan and Syria. I will not mention that, but anyway, well, you gain experience wherever you win or lose. You introspect and find out what you did good and what you need to change. Said that the advance will make Kiev forces hard-pressed to fill gaps in the front lines as their mobility is restricted by Russian superiority in air and artillery. So first of all, I'm quoting, this is a great news that we are returning those territories which we left in the fall during the forced withdrawal. Forced. Interesting, they said they did it as a goodwill. Second, we are advancing, destroying the enemy's reserves, destroying the enemy's manpower, equipment, and this is very important because we are approaching Slavyansk and Krematorsk. Effectively, we're not only creating the prerequisites for the return of these lands, but for the destruction of the entire enemy group of forces in this area, he said. Kiev has one corpse left. Somewhere in the area of 30,000 to 35,000 troops, but has problems with heavy equipment. Kiev is trying to bring it into battle, but hasn't been able to succeed since introducing it piece by piece will mean its destruction from the ground. While bringing it all at once is impossible due to the lack of fire support from the air and on the ground, end quote. Matvichuk said, implying that Russian forces would immediately notice and react to the attempted deployment of a large group of enemy forces. So, Kupyansk strategic significance. Let's see what this is. I'm going to mention him straight up. Kupyansk occupies a very advantageous position, both to the west and to the east. It is a logistical link, both roads and a railway for the transport of supplies. In general, I would call this a strategic point on whose retention the stability of the defense of this entire direction depends. The loss of Kupyansk means the loss of stability, and after that we will be able to go directly to Kharkov direction, he said. So that would be Kharkov direction, as I said, right here. From here, straight up. And the encirclement, probably, I don't know if this is the encirclement, or if they keep going here, then these guys are in deep doo-doo. Remember, this comes from the Russians. But put together with what the Ukrainians reported and the order for 37 settlements, and according to Russians, more than 50 settlements, mandatory evacuation, that means the shit hit the fan. Okay? This could be the big fallout, is that how we call it? Fallout, dispersing of the whole front. If the Russians break there, they might, the whole thing might collapse. And then they go towards Kiev, and then the Poles invade from the west together with the Hungarians to save lives and protect their people. The Poles will eventually get their two little oblasts over there, which are, let me show you on the map. Do you think I'm dreaming? You'll see. You'll see. You'll give me that right here. They want this basically, not basically, straight. Lutsk and Lviv or Lvov, right here. This is gonna go to Poland. Poland will say, well, we're gonna protect people because the Russians are coming and we're gonna meet them halfway, like Ribbentrop-Molotov 1939. But hey, now it's okay because we're the good guys, and then we were also the good guys. But anyway, and the Hungarians will invade probably here and take Zakarpattia. Romanians will be dreaming, as they always do. Not dreaming, but they will be they would ask for the approval to get back what it's theirs. which is things that were taken by the Gruzin, by the Georgian Stalin, not by the Russian Stalin, by the Georgian communist dictator, tyrant, criminal, okay, and given two parts to Ukraine and created a little BS Republic of Moldova, which after 1991, after the disintegration of the Soviet Union, should have returned to the motherland, which could be sucked by those thicks in Bucharest, the new political class in charge. So the big mafiosis will have more to, but Moldova doesn't have much anyway. But anyway, let's come back here. The thing is bad on Kupyansk for the Ukrainians, and it seems like this will be could be the end of this campaign. I suspect a lot of volunteers, those that are trained right now as we speak in the Western countries, to show up and try to stop them from advancing towards Kharkov or Kharkiv, and we'll see what next. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.